Oh, okay.
Okay, first recording.
Okay, so I'm Tom Hoy. I'm here.
Barbara Dorf here.
Steve Shepard here.
Ori Bogenschutz here.
Okay. Roll call been out of the way. Do we make a motion to approve the last meeting minute?
Well, okay, so here I am budging in again. So now we have to say, okay, now you took away my screen, but you have to do, does anybody have a reason? I had it open, but now somebody, okay, they're abstained. Yes, there we go. That's what you got to do. I don't need to abstain. from
No,
voting.
I don't need to
No.
abstain on any of these.
No. I was out to both properties.
I have been out to both properties, although the first one for the Prime group I was out there last time they did it. I didn't see a need to go back again.
I was out to the one on Fern.
Didn't make it to either, but I did look on them online.
Okay,
I didn't speak to anyone.
I did not.
I spoke very briefly to the Tom Phillips on Fern, just letting them know who I was and why I was there, and that I couldn't speak to them more than that.
Yes, that's what I did too, but I don't consider that really talking to him.
Yeah.
Okay, next would be approval of the agenda.
I move to approve the agenda.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So pass unanimously?
Yep.
Okay. Make a motion, so we need a motion to approve the minutes of the last meeting.
I motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second the motion.
Okay? And say yay or nay as far as approving the minutes?
Aye.
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 So that was unanimous as well.
Mhm.
And Noel has now joined us, so he can take over if you would like, Tom.
That would be fine.
Noel, are you with us?
Still muted.
Okay, well, we can just continue on, and I'm sure Noel will make himself known when he's ready.
Okay, so the first order of the business, if we want to tee this up a bit, this is a second time in front of the board. You can read the appeal summary there. Just a quick question, is Alderman Weary on the call?
Doesn't appear to be.
No, I don't see him.
Okay,
Okay, I'll take it from here then. So this is appeal 22-010. Julie Grebe, the Prime Group LLC, property owner, proposes to expand a single stall detached garage of a single family home in a low density residential R1 district at 1092 Shadow Lane. The applicant requests to deviate from the following requirement in chapter 44, Green Bay zoning code, section 44-554, table 44-2, side rear yard setback, Alder Chris Weary, District 8, and this was held from April 18th, 2022 Board of Appeals meeting. So as a refresher, it's a property over on Shadow between Oneida and Frank. This is the front view of the house itself. And here was what the applicant had sent over for information. So back in April, there was a move to request to hold the variance for up to 90 days so that the applicant can go ahead and bring forward site plans and building plans. So 90 days has passed, and in the meantime, staff has reached out to the applicant asking for additional materials, and at the moment, we have not received any. So at this time, it's on to the board to take further steps.
Mr. Chair,
Am I sharing now? Or
speak to
Tom,
ball.
you started it, you want to keep going?
No, you can share. No, you're on.
Okay, thanks. Sorry, folks, it's, I appreciate the earlier meeting times, but then it tends to overlap with the day job, and so I had a business call I was trying to wrap up and failed to do so in a timely manner. Barbara, have you got your hand up?
do.
Yes,
I do. So as I happen to have been here on April 18th, I was here at the meeting for a different thing on the item on the agenda. And it seemed to me, I remember something about not only to like putting a garage in, wasn't the proposal to put a deck on top of the garage too? You
Yes,
guys remember
Yes.
that? Yeah. Yeah. So and are the people here? No, nobody's here
No.
for, so I just, when I went over there this time now, of course, because I wasn't on this last time that it was on the agenda, and it just, it didn't strike me as it would fit in with the neighborhood and that, or that there was enough room for it. And I didn't see anything. I mean, it still would need a rear yard setback if they just made it into an enclosed garage. But I thought there was more to it than just an enclosed garage.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a Packer party house. That's the intent, and they want to be able to see Lambeau Field over the on the deck above.
so.
so they
is
want
there-
folks to be able to go up on the roof, the deck, to celebrate, Packer games.
Is there anybody here who wishes to speak to this issue who's not a member of the board? Okay, so we have, we've got a request that was held. We've had no further communication from the petitioner. They've not responded to our outreach, and they're not here at this meeting. I would entertain a motion to either deny or just table indefinitely. I don't know what's our protocol for this. Should we just
I mean, there's nothing to keep them from resubmitting, is there?
if we deny the request, they can't submit again for a year.
Right?
The only thing that I would say is that if they were going from past notes of the earlier meeting, they might be thinking that the meeting is going to start at 5:30, which is when the meetings used to start.
And we've had
Yeah,
some
that
people
happened.
show up later because of that
Right.
recently.
Yeah. So I don't know where they, do we know if they were sent additional information as far as the meeting date and time, or?
Right, correct. So they received notice for this, and in their voicemails that were left for them, it was noted the start time is at 4:30 now.
Oh, okay.
It's been written and it's been vocally communicated to them. Yes.
I mean, I guess I don't think it hurts us to kick it down the road if they can't refile for a year. Give them another 90 days, and if they don't show up again, then just deny them. I mean, they have to take into the process.
The only question I have, and obviously being new to the board, is this something, considering that they're more intent on using it more from like a commercial purpose versus a residential purpose? Have like the approvals in the past, how does that fall in line with some of the other, I guess, party houses in Lambeau, as far as when we're thinking, just for my understanding, I guess, as far as like how the board has felt about those in the past?
Well, it's certainly within, everybody's purview to consider that as they're thinking about whether, the changes are being proposed are appropriate. I, for one, prefer to talk about requests only with the petitioners present, and if they don't show for a meeting, I'm inclined to dismiss the petition. But yeah, Corey, that's certainly okay to think about every facet of the thing, from design to use to traffic to whatever it might be that's, could impact the neighbors or our work. So.
And my thought is also, with the Packer season coming up, it doesn't make sense for them to be having construction going on this fall. That's probably why they did it in the spring.
Maybe not.
I mean, if they haven't started already, they don't got to get a contractor or materials anyway.
Right.
So
Just a game.
So is the motion to hold it for 90 days, Steve?
You know what? I'll make that motion. I motion to hold it for another 90 days and then, see if they respond again.
I'll second that.
And, here's a thought. Maybe we make it if you're okay with this, make it a motion for 90 days. And if they don't reach out within that time to work with staff, just make it a denial rather than bring it back to this table and have to act on it yet again.
Yeah, I think that's a good amendment to add to Steve's motion.
I'd accept that as a friendly
I agree.
amendment.
All right.
Just as far as my 2 cents, like if they're looking at a time frame, if we do pass that, looking at that being 90 days from now, that's going to be November. And if they have to reapply for another full year, they would miss out on next Packer season, just as far as like in that consideration.
Yeah, but we're telling them then, okay, hey, reach out before November then, or.
Yeah.
you're
I'll be
gonna-
honest with you, I'm a little surprised they didn't. They seemed eager last time, so.
Yeah, they could also withdraw the request. So if this comes through and that's the decision of the board, they'll get notification of that and they could just say, I want to withdraw it. Then it's not, no action was taken, they'd be able to
Good.
reapply. But if we don't hear anything from them in 90 days, the assumption is that the project is dead.
Good insight, Stephanie.
All right, so there's a motion by Tom or do we just want to make that your motion, Steve? I don't know
Yeah,
how.
I think that's easy. I think we all agreed that that was, a good addition to the motion.
All right, so motion and a second to hold this for 90 days. And if we don't hear from the petitioner in that time, if staff does not hear from the petitioner in that time, it'll just go as a denial. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Uh,
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right. Next item.
Okay, thank you, Vice Chair. The next item is Appeal 22-029. Tim Phillips, property owner, has installed a passable hardscape in the tapered triangle space at the property line for a single-family home in the low-density residential area of the zoning and planning agenda of the Zoning and Planning Board of Appeals for August 15, 2022, page 2. The district's at 2089 Fern Lane. The applicant requests to deviate from the following requirements in Chapter 44, Green Bay Zoning Code, Section 44-1746-3C, tapered triangle materials, Oliver Bill Morgan, District 3. So what we are looking at right here is at the corner of Fern and Bader over on the east side. It's a corner lot. And with that in mind, there's a area here where it's the tapered triangle and it is hardscaped. So the next slide here will be a pretty good representation with the code of what's going on here. So the area where we have our driveway apron can come in and then hit the sidewalk, and that establishes the width. That width can be a maximum 25 feet. This is no problem for this property. It's underneath 25 feet. Once you get to the property line, at that point, the driveway has to be established at the size of the apron down at the front of walk compared to the back of walk. If the driveway is to get widened to go ahead and be the width of the garage, at that point, then there must be a tapered triangle. That tapered triangle must go ahead and be 5 feet past the sidewalk itself. In this case, that area is not vegetative, it's hardscaped, and that becomes to our issue here today. Some additional photos were included by the applicant. This shows the driveway with the triangles that are covered on both the right and left sides of the property. You'll note here on this left side where you see some a little bit of overgrowth right there on the sidewalk. That same line is where the opening happens to meet up with the driveway. So that's where a triangle should go ahead according to code and exist. On the right is a detail of the hardscape area on the right part of the driveway. In addition, there are some additional photos that were provided. This one is noting the elevation and the grade change on the property itself. Furthermore, on your left is a detail of the hardscaping, and on your right is a an image that shows some of the drainage that has occurred on the property after rainstorms. And finally, the applicant provided an image of their retaining wall on their property as relates to drainage.
Okay.
You want us to speak?
Do we, yeah, are we supposed to say anything here?
Yeah, before we do that, is there any question from staff before we hear from the petitioners? For this, any questions for staff before we hear from the petitioners?
Oh, I have a question.
Go ahead.
Mr. Chair.
Yes,
So staff, so can materials, it said it was deviating from taper triangle materials. What are all the acceptable materials for taper triangles?
I'll take that here. That area is meant to be in the code a vegetative space. So by hardscape, that's derived then as an area that can be driven upon. So the area taper triangle, the city is to require installation of vegetation or other items designated to prohibit vehicular trespass.
So like gravel would not be acceptable. Stones would not be acceptable.
No, so that, right, and so I'm gonna go back and share the screen here again, kind of give a bit more, say, imagery to this. If we go to the image that's within the code itself, what you'll see here is you have your triangle and you'll have vegetation being green. There's also this green spot right here. That's referring back to, in order to go ahead and make the area itself become a taper triangle, the city may require installation of vegetation or other item such as a shrub or a rock right there to prohibit the trespass into the triangle of automobiles.
Why is there prohibited trespass of automobiles within that tiny little triangle?
Okay, I'll share the screen again and we can review it. So I believe the intent of the code right here is that you are lining up your driveway apron and then your driveway itself to where, as a vehicle, you are passing only along the hardscape area in both on the property itself and in the public right of way in the apron. If this were to go ahead and be hardscape the whole way right here, and it was an area where it's easy to go ahead and pass along, that means then your vehicle could go ahead and drive down in the road off of the driveway that's already in place and over the curb. It's to limit that access.
John, if you would go up to the photo that's got the fire hydrant in it. I think you can see this pretty clearly there, right? There's the edge of the driveway from the street.
I see.
And then this thing jogs over and does it. And what it was supposed to be is that it cuts back there. It can go beyond this, go wider beyond the street. Didn't we have this property with a variance within the last?
Yes, we
years?
did.
With something alongside the garage there? Okay, so
So it's a safety issue. It's a safety issue. If people were walking along the sidewalk, then if you're backing out, you're not prevented from just going right on the sidewalk? Or is it an issue
I don't know.
where you're prevented not from going right down the driveway? You could go over the curb?
Yeah, I mean, I
What's
think
the
the idea is
reason?
that people can't, create a essentially de facto widen their driveway by filling the triangle.
Even if the purpose is because it gets muddy and because it's a mess.
That's,
or
I just curious, I mean, I just. am
or perhaps
curious.
neighbors complained about this because they're salty about the last variance, but let's hear from our petitioners
Okay.
here.
I do have,
I'd like to hear somebody move to open the floor to input from the,
Motion to open the floor.
I do have one question.
sure, go
with-
ahead, Stephen.
For staff. So looking here at the taper triangle, you can kind of see where it skinnies out in between. It kind of looks like an hourglass there. We're only talking about the cobble in the taper triangle below, right? Not in the taper triangle above, or not in this triangle above.
Correct. Yes.
Okay. So it would be, oh, so only the part that's near the sidewalk is in question.
We have two areas, both on the right and left side. So
Right.
both of the triangle.
Right, but then it also continues up to the pad. We're not worried about the piece that goes up to the pad, are we?
No.
Fair enough.
Thank you. And so there was a motion by
by Barb Dorf.
Barb Dorf. Is there a second to open the floor?
I'll second.
Second by Tom. All those in favor say aye.
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 Okay, floor is open. Tim Phillips and co. You're on
You
mute.
guys are muted.
The mute, does it automatically go to mute?
I don't know.
Okay, can you hear us now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So the issue, well, the argument, I guess, would be that this is not something that you can actually drive on. It's an aesthetic, and it's there because of the runoff. If you see we're positioned on the top and the bottom of a hill, basically. The bottom of this hill on Bader, and then Fern goes all the way, down the line here. So we get an enormous amount of water that runs around our garage and down our driveway. And
That used to go through the garage,
it used to go through the garage. We rerouted that.
which is why you saw that wall there, because the neighbors had a deck up underneath behind our house. And we had to have that, the city had to help us get that removed, and they took the grate away from the garage. So now all this water was going through our garage. So now
Okay,
we have,
but let's address the
okay,
thing. Okay, so what this does is we're I forget, I didn't see your name,
Barbara,
but we're talking about avoiding a big mud hole there is what we're trying to do.
we have a video.
Yes, we do have a video that shows the water running when it rains, and how that's slightly elevated, and it keeps the water from settling in there, and it directs it down the sidewalk and then down the driveway.
You don't drive on it.
It's like, yeah, it really can't be driven on. It's only, there's a concrete to hold the rocks in place, but it's only like an inch thick, inch and a half thick. So if you drove on it, would break
And we would have to replace it.
and we would have to replace it. So, yeah, so I mean, I'm sure you've all seen people next to people's driveways like this where they just have a big mud hole where they have actually been driving on it anyway. We're trying to first of all, we're trying to avoid that big mud hole.
And we tried putting rocks in there,
We did.
and those washed out. So that will tell you how much water goes across
Yeah,
our
we-
driveway.
Yeah, we did do a thing with some flat rocks and things like that.
I mean, it just didn't
And
work.
it didn't hold together. And then we feel an aesthetic appeal to it. Most of the people in the neighborhood give us nice compliments on it. They think it looks very nice. It doesn't, I can't see where it would cause any hardship to anybody else, versus, yeah. Because like I said, we don't drive on it.
Let me show
It
them the
wouldn't,
video.
but yeah,
I guess,
the video of the water going down, if we can get that loaded up,
Okay.
here, we can get this to. You got it,
Somebody's got to okay me to share though.
Corey has a question.
Well, let's handle some of the questions first.
Okay.
Maybe we can pass on seeing that, I'm sure.
Okay.
They're telling us the facts as they are, so.
my question will kind of allude to what the video might show. So prior to having those rocks in this format, when you had the rocks and everything like washing away, would water like pool in that area? And that's
Oh.
what caused it to be the muddy and the
Yes,
squishy and like.
exactly.
Well,
Okay.
yeah, and because of the amount of water, we're not in the middle of we're on a corner. So we're downhill from Bader, we're uphill from Fern. So that water cuts right across our corner. So we have like copious amounts of water coming down there that we're going through our garage before. But copious amounts of water. So it's not like you can just put dirt there and it's gonna grow something. it is a mess. So we have spent a lot of money trying to put like grass in there. Never takes. It's down the hill by the time anything starts to grow. It's just awful. And it's the only thing that we could come up with to keep the water from doing what it was doing, you know?
Yeah.
Water's gonna go where water's gonna go. Water is gonna go downhill, and it doesn't care where it goes, whether it's through your garage or around your house.
All right, lay that video on us.
Here's that video.
Okay. Is this it?
This is it.
How did I get that up there?
It just popped up.
Oh, it's just, is that loading now, or what is it?
Oh,
Oh,
no,
it's gone.
we just watched it, so,
Oh, did you? Okay, we couldn't see anything.
okay.
I can
Thank
play
you
it
for
one more
that.
time if you'd like.
Please,
Sure.
because I missed it.
Start now.
It's very subtle.
It is subtle. I see it now.
That's like, why is it going so fast? It's got much more to it than that, but you can see it coming down. Hang on, let me
I can
let me
see
get
it.
Can you
Yeah.
see it?
Yeah.
But
I got
I thought I had a better part of that. Okay, well, it's only allowing that video to go, so I have a better video. That's not the one I wanted up there.
I mean, you can see like the amount of the water that's actually at the end of the driveway that's pooling there. That's probably
well,
about an inch.
So
or
you can
so thick.
imagine,
And just
can we show
imagining,
you, we have a surveyed map of the property that we paid a surveyor to come and do, and and then you can see what we're talking about also.
I don't have any problem. I'm understanding what you're saying, but what
Okay.
about the rest of you?
Either.
No, I'm
I'm
feel
clear.
pretty well informed.
I think we might be good in terms of the
Understanding.
documentation and evidence here. Maybe
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
the rest should be, well, first of all, does anybody have any questions for the petitioners? Any questions?
So if it's washing out between the sidewalk and the road and the triangle there, what's keeping the dirt at the other side of the sidewalk from washing away the same?
That's been established for a long time. We put a
Established
new
for
driveway in.
Yeah, you mean between the curb and
Mhm,
the sidewalk, that area?
mhm.
That does wash out somewhat.
It's got a lot of
But
weeds.
there's-
We
yeah,
can't keep grass there. It's
We're
got
trying, yeah, we're
weeds.
trying to get grass to grow there. But,
From the
know.
years of it being on the terrace, there's like large, I don't know, you guys know, in the older parts of Green Bay, the dirt kind of like,
Yeah,
the driveway, the sidewalks are kind of lower than the terrace in a lot of spots. So the dirt is so big, is so much there, and our mailboxes there, it kind of goes past there. It's
Yeah.
not good because we can't keep grass there, but we can keep weeds, so we're okay with, green.
Right. So
But-
there is a little, yeah, the ground there is actually a little higher than the sidewalk. So it tends to route the water down the
and it's-
sidewalk.
It's
And,
established too.
and it is more established, yeah.
Thank you.
Other questions, Corey?
have you ever discussed as like what options, like with a landscaper or any other professional that like had recommendations on other alternatives other than what you
This
have
was
done?
it.
This was what I
Well,
recommended. Okay.
Yeah, they said put cement in there, which I want you to know, we did, and then we took it out because we were told by somebody to take it out. We took it out and we put gravel in there, and that was a complete fiasco. So,
Yeah, we tried with the rock
we tried we tried.
and,
So-
yeah, and it was just a mess. It just got it.
The down on the bottom of Fern Lane, they got it all. They got all the mud, it just went down the sidewalk.
So also by you putting that in there, you're also protecting the sewer system as far as getting the extra mud and
Big
stuff. in there.
time.
We'd like to think
Or
so.
the-
We like to
drainage.
think so anyway, right?
Other
And,
questions for the petitioners?
Yeah.
All right, is there anybody else who wishes to speak to this item? I see a Pam Bilkey on the call. Pam, are you here to speak to this item?
Pam's part of city staff.
Oh, okay. Sorry, Pam, go back to being a shadow and muted. But and welcome. So, all right. I think if we've got no further questions for the petitioners, let's close the floor and discuss amongst ourselves how we're going to proceed with this variance request.
I move to close the floor.
Second.
Second.
Motion and second to close the floor. All in favor, say aye.
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 Oops, okay, we're closed. So go ahead. What are y'all thinking?
You know, we get a lot of variance requests for these side pullouts, and we've been pretty hard on that. Something which I think we probably need to continue just to be consistent. But in this particular case, I think a combination of the run out that's happening there, and what really actually convinces me, at least in my mind, that I would grant this variance is the fact that they can't drive on that because it's a little thin piece. I think in most cases, most people would pour, drivable concrete there with the intention of saying, my car makes ruts there, and that wouldn't be acceptable. In this case, I think that since this is literally for water control, and since it's got the public aspect of, as Corey said about runoff into the sewers, it's got water control and the unique characteristics of the property. I lived in that neighborhood, so I know what they're talking about. I lived on Swiss Hill and Newberry, so kind of looking at how this is done, I think this is at least in my mind an acceptable occurrence. But that's my philosophy on it.
Thanks, Stephen. Others? Barb?
I 100% agree and don't need to speak anymore. Stephen, you said it all.
All right.
I agree.
All right. So somebody make a motion.
Motion
Make a
to approve.
motion. Go ahead.
I make a motion to approve as written.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the variance as requested. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. You've got your variance.
You're muted.
Sorry.
Thank you. We
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Sure.
Thanks for your help.
All right.
We're gonna leave the meeting. Is that okay?
Yes, please. Have a good day. All right, so next up, we've got an informational discussion on procedural items. Do we have any discussion there?
No, we can go ahead and,
We might want to note for our chairperson how quickly we got done with this meeting, at the next meeting. We just might want to.
Be like,
Two
oh my gosh,
items,
we were out of here.
or whatever.
Right.
Go ahead.
That's great. Yes, we'll make sure to reflect that in the minutes or something. All right, and our next meeting date is September 19th. Is there any other discussion on that? All right, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Move to adjourn.
All right, we've got a motion to adjourn. All those in favor say bye.
Aye.
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 Nobody seconded it.
I'll second
I'll
it.
second.
Okay. Aye.
Bye.
Aye.